Hello and welcome to United Report. This is your home for all the latest Manchester United news, match updates, transfer stories, and in-depth analysis. Stay connected and never miss a moment. Subscribe now to stay ahead with everything happening at Old Trafford. Unai Emery has been criticised for subbing Marcus Rashford as Aston Villa chased a goal in their heartbreaking Champions League quarter-final defeat to Paris Saint-Germain. Rashford, 27, recovered from a poor start to the game to produce a sparkling second-half performance. His assist for Ezri Konsa's goal, which gave Villa the lead on the night and cut the deficit to 5-4 on aggregate, particularly caught the eye, as he glided past Fabian Ruiz and cut the ball back inside the penalty area. Rashford had got the nod over Villa striker Ollie Watkins for the third successive game, a call which raised eyebrows. But it was Emery's decision to substitute the Manchester United loanee in 76th minute, which sparked further debate. Rashford's number came up with Villa leading the second leg 3-2, but still needing one more goal to force extra time. Former Liverpool and Villa defender Stephen Warnock was surprised, saying on BBC Radio 5 Live, "I don't know what Unai Emery saw. With the way Marcus Rashford was playing, he got it wrong. Rashford was brilliant. Rashford was involved in everything, and everything which was good was coming from him. It felt like the tempo dropped when he made that substitution. You need a goal, why are you taking a striker off? If you want to pin PSG back, you play Rashford and Watkins in between the fullback and centre halves, and you stretch those balls over the top." Moments before Emery made the change, ex-United and Villa striker Dion Dublin added Marcus Rashford is on fire tonight. You don't want to take him off. Dublin also said Marcus Rashford didn't score, but the energy levels that he had, he was making those defenders make mistakes. For me, he was man of the match for Villa. After his side failed to find an equaliser, Emery was tight-lipped on Rashford's future at Villa, who have a £40 million option to sign him permanently from United when the summer transfer window opens. It's difficult to plan it now, the Spaniard admitted when speaking to Prime Video Sport. Of course, he is feeling better, and today he played a fantastic match, and we are very happy. And most importantly, he is happy. So we are happy with him, and he's happy with us. This is important with the process we have. Andre Onana appears to have taken his Manchester United acts positively, despite his future now being up in the air. The Cameroonian was dropped from the Red Devils squad for their trip to Newcastle after a series of high-profile errors. Two of those mistakes came in his most recent outing against Lyon, following a war of words with ex-United midfielder Nemanja Matic. Backup keeper Altay Bayindir was selected instead of Onana against Newcastle, but he did little to convince he is a long-term option. It remains to be seen whether Onana will return between the sticks in United's next game against Lyon, but his recent omission does not appear to have caused lasting issues. According to those close to him, the goalkeeper's enforced break has done him good. It is said that a weekend away from football allowed the former Inter Milan keeper to rest and recharge both from a physical and mental point of view. Onana was back at Carrington for training this week as Ruben Amorim attempts to get his side prepared for this Thursday's decisive game against Lyon. Explaining Onana's omission, the Portuguese coach said, "Of course, you have to see the context," Amorim told Sky Sports. "It is a normal thing. Sometimes you have to push the player to play again. Sometimes you have to let him disconnect a little bit. Tomorrow, he will be in training to prepare for the next one, Lyon. So I felt that it was a good time for Andre to disconnect. I think he was okay about it, because I explained, and then, you don't need to like it, but you understand, because I explain every situation. It's a normal situation," he added. "You have to manage everything. Sometimes people just look at the physical aspect, but the mental aspect is really, really important. It's for just one game, and we give Altay an opportunity. He deserves it also. And then, again, tomorrow is a new life, and we will prepare for the next one." Onana's omission has seen his long-term future at Old Trafford called into question. There have been suggestions that Saudi Arabia could be a potential destination for him should he decide to quit United. But there are a few hurdles to any exit. United would need to receive in excess of Onana's book value of £26.3 million in order to make a profit in the eyes of PSR. He is also not considering a move at the current time and is instead more focused on turning the tide. Manchester United knew what they were signing up for when they hired Ruben Amorim and must remain patient while he implements his ideas. That is the opinion of Jamie Carragher, who has pushed back against those who believe Amorim should change his playing style as a reaction to his team's poor results. Amorim's future at United has been thrown into question following the 4-1 thrashing by Newcastle on Sunday, which handed them a 14th league defeat of the season for successive campaigns. United's mediocrity was underlined by the fact that Newcastle followed Brighton, Nottingham Forest and Tottenham in completing a league double over Amorim's side, who sit a lowly 14th in the Premier League table. Their entire season now rides on the second leg of the Europa League quarter-final against Lyon on Thursday, with the competition offering the golden ticket to the Champions League for its winners. The pressure is on Amorim after Andre Onana made 2 howlers to gift Lyon a 2-2 draw in the first leg, while the Portuguese coach continually dismissed questions about the Newcastle performance by turning attention to Thursday's game. Favoured 3-4-2-1 formation, a non-negotiable. United's players have struggled to get to grips with its nuances, leading some to call for compromise. But Carragher thinks that would amount to an admission from the club that they hired the wrong man. I think Amorim is probably at the end of that queue, if you like, he said on Sky Sports Monday Night Football, when asked who was to blame for the current malaise. You'd have to look at the ownership and the players there. He's going into a really difficult situation. We have to remember he didn't want to take the job right away. He wanted to come in the summer, in a pre-season. But the results that he's got, they're still not good enough. We know for Man United, we're not expecting them to win every week. We know they're not a top team, but they shouldn't be where they are in the league table, even with the players that they've got. It took a bit of time, obviously, for the system. People are still yet to be convinced by that. Is that the right decision? Not actually from him, but by the club for employing him because he came with that system. That's his DNA. People keep saying, oh, he's got to change the system. I don't really see it like that because his whole managerial career and the success that he's had has been based on that system. That's what he knows. If he goes to something else, they might as well change the manager. United host Lyon at Old Trafford on Thursday, knowing victory will land them a Europa League semi-final against the winners of Athletic Bilbao and Rangers. They then host in-form Wolves in the Premier League on Sunday. Advisor to the board. Blanc arrived at the club with significant footballing pedigree. He previously spent time with Italian giants Juventus, among other clubs, and was involved in the Turin club's move to the Allianz Stadium. The 62-year-old also spent time with Paris Saint-Germain in his native France, serving as the club's CEO for a decade. He officially joined United just weeks after Ratcliffe's partial takeover of the club was confirmed in early 2024. Before taking on his role, he became Ineos Sport CEO in February 2023. When announcing that appointment, Ratcliffe pointed to a particular ambition to raise our standards in football, with Ineos in charge of OGC Nice, among other clubs, before the Manchester United Investment.BBC Sport reports that Blanc had previously represented United at European football and Premier League meetings, but didn't do so at the last Premier League shareholders meeting. On that occasion, CEO Barada was joined by Chief Financial Officer Roger Bell. Ratcliffe has overseen a number of changes in the club's leadership since taking charge of football affairs midway through the 2023-24 season. The billionaire also brought in Dan Ashworth as sporting director, though the former Newcastle transfer chief only lasted a few months in the role. In a March interview with The Times, Ratcliffe indicated he could be convinced to walk away from the club if he receives the same amount of hate as the Glazer family. Majority owners the Glazer have been the subject of fan protests at various points in their tenure. I don't mind being unpopular because I get that nobody likes seeing Manchester United down where they are and nobody likes the decisions we're having to make, Ratcliffe said. If I draw a bit of the ire, I can put up with that. But I'm no different to the average person, it's not nice, particularly for friends and family. So, eventually, if it reached the extent that the Glazer family have been abused, then I'd have to say, look, enough's enough, guys. Let somebody else do this. They can't really come to a match, the Glazers.